What's your Tyler is back with now the reason why this has been a little later than I usually do, but I was watching some Nickelodeon shows, the new Fairly Odd Parents, where Crocker made a return on there. Even though it's in the same way Timmy Turner, but I am enjoying the new so I'm glad that's back. And the SpongeBob shows, the one like when Blake the episode where the Patrick show where Patrick wants to vote for something and he gets beaten up by a sea bear where Squidward where you need him, or running for mayor. Then again, this is Patrick when he was a teenager or something like that. Camp Coral where Sandy and SpongeBob fight Larry and Bubble Bass. Underwater, which the key bottom is underwater. They're sea creatures, get it? Besides Sandy, of course. And there's the aforementioned SpongeBob episode where Plankton is SpongeBob's little brother in quotation marks, and Patrick's mom and father were at the end of that episode. So continuity is still alive in the SpongeBob universe. You see SpongeBob a lot on my shows. He's my broadcast partner. But we're not going to talk about those, okay? That's like a mini like review of that. Who knows? But we're going to talk about wrestling's Dumpsterfires. This is about Ric Flair being the chaotic boss around here. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be criticizing, but you got to know this is wrestling's Dumpsterfires, where I talk about a lot of bad stuff, like bad storylines or something like that, or bad character changes like Joseph Park, aka Chris Park, aka Abyss. That was my first edition of Wrestling's Dumpsterfires video. A group like shitty ass Retribution, which nobody remembers that group, and I don't blame you all because that was during where there's no fans around. Let's not mention the whole thing. But next year we're gonna just quietly never mention anything pandemic related. Or Abysmania. The less I say about that, the better. Then again, this is Ric Flair's second appearance on the Wrestling Dumpsterfires video, and I know a lot of people are going to be saying, I know I'm going to say this a lot, but at least Charlotte Flair did not wasn't involved in anything like this. She was part of some storyline that was... Oh God, that's two I have to include on here. My imagination hand of Dumpsterfires to do. That's a SpongeBob reference, yes. But how can you blame me? Because SpongeBob is around my channel. It's my broadcast partner. My dream broadcast partner, that is. In a fantasy league with toys. Get it? Tomorrow will be Showdown episode 36, so you're going to see SpongeBob SquarePants a lot on my shows. He debuted in December of last year. Deal with it. But regardless, so let's talk about this. It all began when Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff got into a really personal problems, where Bischoff said the only people who drew money in WCW were Hogan, Savage, and Piper. Ric Flair wanted to take some time off to see his son Reed's amateur wrestling tournament, which Bischoff refused. And Ric Flair was gone mostly throughout /98. He wasn't... The last time he appeared was sometime in February, where he and Bret Hart were in a alliance/feud thing. That feud did not end, basically. But Ric Flair did return on the night after Fall Brawl in '98. Which you'll see that by in a month and a half now. Which will be Fall Brawl '98, Fall Brawl '99. At least I have Goldberg and Diamond Dallas Page on there. No Surrender 2006 and Unforgiven 1999. Those are the 4 September reviews I'm going to talk about. But regardless of that, the reinforcing 4 Horsemen, which was him, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, who is now officially part of the Horsemen, Mongo, yes, that happened. And then, yeah, and mostly Arn Anderson, but he was retired a year prior to this. And then Ric Flair says to Eric Bischoff, "You're a cheap, you're a liar, and you're a no good son of a bitch. Fire me, I'm already fired. Fire me," basically. Bischoff does not want Ric Flair anywhere near the ring in WCW around this time. It's the real life heat around this time, which they did bury the hatchet some point years later down the road. I don't know when, but regardless of that. Also there's something going on outside, but ignore that. So, Bischoff said he wants to have a Ric Flair match, which is basically a recap of Ric Flair losing to Hulk Hogan at Bash at the Beach 1994. I guess because of heat, but this is the wrong kind of heat. And they did it again at Halloween Havoc 94, the next week on Nitro, where Hogan beats Flair again in a retirement match. They don't match shit, really, because why would you have a fucking... Regardless. Moving on. Also, Eric Bischoff said that Flair is not in the building, but then Arn says, yes, a Flair is in the building, but it's Ric Flair who tackles Eric Bischoff down, which, yeah. And then Ric Flair had a fake heart attack, which, yeah, that whole thing was so stupid. And this all led to Starrcade. Yes. The one where Kevin Nash beat Goldberg by a fucking taser gun, which was fast forward like 2 matches before that. The match with Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff. The match was basically Ric Flair beating the shit out of Eric Bischoff until there was a ref bump by Charles Robinson. Can we tell him to make a Charles Robinson figure? I don't give a shit as a Build-A-Figure. I want a Charles Robinson figure, Mattel. And that led to Kurt Hennig gives Eric Bischoff a weapon, basically. It's like brass knucks, but it's not brass knucks. And beats Ric Flair. Yes, that happened. And then the information Starrcade main event. But regardless, the next night, Ric Flair just wants another match with Bischoff. He's even stripped to his freaking underwear, which, yes, that's the thumbnail of this video. And later that night, Bischoff lost to Ric Flair for the presidency of WCW. Then we get to January 4th, the next week. The same Nitro where Tony Schiavone spoiled the match on Raw with Mankind and The Rock, where Mick Foley's gonna win the World Championship. Huh, that's gonna put a lot of butts in the seat. Yeah. Also, we kind of blame Ric Flair for the finger poke of doom, really. And also, he makes Eric Bischoff's life a living hell throughout that. Also, it's sold out. David Flair wants to team up with Ric Flair, which, okay, that makes no sense, but that kind of makes sense because Ric Flair's in a handicap situation with Barry Windham and Kurt Hennig, which, you look at David Flair, oh my god, he was fucking, don't know where the fuck he was in that match. Again, look at Charlotte Flair, she knows where she's doing all the time. She's a great talent. But regardless. Also, the night after Sold Out, this brings us to Wrestling Bio's worst match on Nitro history, David Flair versus Eric Bischoff, where Bischoff got his head shaved. That's like the first or two times that Bischoff got his head shaved after a match. I know there was a third one with Mick Foley, but that was in TNA in 2010, where that failed Monday Night Massacre happened. And Bischoff was being put in some stupid places, like cleaning up a bathroom, doing stuff with the merchandise, getting wet. What else? What else? Making a wrestling ring. And be his limo driver. All of this was to help out the NWO, basically. Go back to him making the ring. That helped Kevin Nash beat the Giant in Paul White's last match in WCW. Because a month later, he would go to the World Wrestling Federation as the Big Show. And other stuff about it. Then Hogan tried to seduce Dave Flair with a young Tori Wilson, which it fucking did work at Super Brawl. And now I make the watered down NWO, well, more watery. Because, yeah. Also, Ric Flair got himself a world title match against Hogan at Super Brawl. Yeah, I know. You see us a lot after my birthday. That's what my birthday theme was this year. Which, first off, a man who is controlled of WCW should not have a world title match. This led to the match at Uncensored, which we'll save that by next year. Probably sometime in February. Where they did a fucking double turn at Uncensored. Where Ric Flair turned from face to heel, and the NWO from heel to face. Also, this was the birth of Little Nate Charles Robinson. Oh, God. Yep. Yes. That's one other plus about it. That's like one plus about this. Was Charles Robinson become Little Nate. But anyways. Things were changing a lot in WCW, really. The logo changes from this to this Space Age logo. I don't know what the fuck it is. It looks like a Space Age. I don't know what the fuck a Space Age is. I don't know, really. Ray Savage held Diamond Dallas Page to defeat Ric Flair and Sting and Hollywood Hogan in a four-way match at Spring Stampede. I did that last year on my secondary channel again. That was a remaster of those. Like I said before, those are different from there to this, really. That's probably why, you know. Why. But things didn't get better because Roddy Piper came back and he seduced Ric Flair to an insane asylum where he made it into a party. WCW was a fucking mess around this time. This was the same year, by the way, where the White Hummer storyline happened. I mentioned that already in a previous Dumpsterfires video, like, what was it? 3 Dumpsterfires ago? Oh god, WCW was a fucking mess around this time. Led to a match at Slamboree, by the way. Charles Robinson fought Gorgeous George on that show, which was better than the one right here with Ric Flair and Roddy Piper, where Piper won by disqualification, but the whole stipulation thing didn't mean nothing because they have another match at the Great American Bash where Buff Bagwell cost Roddy Piper the match. And it's like the Buff Bagwell getting attacked by Roddy Piper and turns heel. And also, this was also the end of the Four Horsemen when Benoit and Malenko left Flair. Also. And then also like the shit match at Bash at the Beach. That's like the boxing match between Piper and fucking Bagwell. Yeah, that match sucked. That's probably the worst Bash at the Beach ever. Like I said before, that is the only terrible Bash at the Beach. Because the other ones were good to great. even 2000s was better than this. Also, Ric Flair gave David Flair the United States Championship. Someone who is not... That whole thing, like, David Flair left the NWO to go back to his father, which he taught him tough love, which that storyline didn't went to anywhere, because he got his ass kicked by Meng, which, by the way, Meng is a fucking guy who loves to kick somebody's ass, basically. Yeah, Ric Flair gave him the vacated United States Championship, which Scott Steiner held it, but he was injured, so he had to relinquish the belt, which, yeah, that match at Backstage also sucked, and the whole storyline of WCW President with Ric Flair ended when he lost to his longtime rival, Sting. Someone who met him in 2021. Sting, that is. That's the end of that storyline. One plus, though, we got the birth of Lil Nate and Charles Robinson. The best referee, in my opinion, that is. Behind Earl Hebner, Nick Patrick, and Mike Chioda, and Chap Patton, and Rudy Charles, or Dan Engler. I just call him Rudy Charles because it's TNA days, but whatever. So that's basically it. Again, thankfully, Charlotte Flair is not going to be involved in these Dumpsterfires. Well, except for some, which he's not really in the focus of those. Thank goodness. But you know what those two will be. We'll save those probably in September, perhaps. Like this video, comment below, subscribe to this channel right here, and click the notification bell, as well as my secondary channel titled Retro Reviews, so you'll see in today's SummerSlam 2006. So we continue on the SummerSlam thing, because there's one more I gotta do after that, 2009. Also, I did a full poll on who should return at SummerSlam. There was only 2 people who voted 50-50 for that. Unfortunately, nobody picked AJ Styles or Becky Lynch. They chose Charlotte Flair and Roman Reigns, so... yeah. But regardless, bye-bye.